What would you call reality? What do you believe about your life, your limits, your possibilities? What if I told you that none of this is set in stone? What if I told you that these rules that bind you aren't real? They're just a script you've been given, but you can change it at any time. The truth is, you've been conditioned to follow a belief system you're not even aware of. It's like you're in a game, but you were never taught that you can change the rules. The most impressive thing about it? You have the power to change this game instantly. You don't have to wait for outside changes, nor do you have to rely on others. But there's a catch. Most people aren't even aware that this opportunity has always been there. They continue to play a game where they always lose, simply because they believe they can't change anything. But today, all that is changing. You'll understand why some people seem to achieve everything effortlessly, while others, no matter how hard they try, remain trapped in the same cycles. You'll discover the invisible secret that shapes your reality and how to use it to your advantage. And before you think this is just another empty motivational talk, I'll show you evidence, science, history, and practical techniques that will give you the key to reshaping your destiny. The only question is, are you ready to see the truth? Everything you believe to be real is somehow programmed into you. Since birth, your mind has been bombarded with invisible rules. Work hard to be someone in life. Money doesn't grow on trees. You can't have it all. But what if these sentences were nothing more than mental commands someone placed there? What if, instead of absolute truths, they were just dogmas created to keep us in a system where we never win? Neuroscience has already proven that our perception of reality isn't objective. It's filtered by what we consider possible. There's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system, RAS, that functions like radar and filters out everything that's relevant to us. A simple example: when you learn a new word, you suddenly see it everywhere. This doesn't mean the word just appeared out of nowhere. Your brain simply noticed it. Now think about it on a larger scale. If you believe life is difficult, your brain will only emphasize the difficulties. If you believe you're incapable, it will provide you with evidence. But here's the secret no one's told you. Your reality isn't fixed. It's completely malleable. What you perceive as barriers or limitations simply reflects how your brain has been conditioned to see things. The good news? You can reprogram this. Imagine a board game where everyone plays by certain rules. Some people learn early on that they can bend the rules or create new ones, while others blindly follow what's been given to them. Guess who wins? The truth is, your entire life can change once you understand that the constraints around you aren't fixed. They're just distorted versions of reality imposed on you. And when you learn to look beyond what you've learned, you'll discover a whole universe of possibilities waiting to be explored. Now stop and think. How many decisions have you made based on rules you never questioned? How many things have you given up on because you thought they were impossible? What would happen if you suddenly acted as if there were no limits? But this is where things get even more exciting. Now that you know reality is malleable, what's stopping you from changing it? Do you have any idea how much your mind holds you captive without you even realizing it? Everything you believe about yourself, money, success, relationships, happiness, none of it is something you consciously chose. They are beliefs instilled in you since childhood that have become invisible and therefore seem like the absolute truth. Yet no one tells you that these truths are merely edited versions of reality, constructed by past experiences, society, and outside influences. And the worst part is, most of them keep you trapped in a vicious cycle of limitation and frustration. Think about it. If someone told you as a child that you'd never learn to swim, and every time you tried, they laughed and repeatedly assured you that it was impossible, what would the result be? You wouldn't even try, not because you couldn't swim, but because your mind had accepted that notion as true. It's like that with everything. You're not afraid of failure. You've learned to fear it. You're not bad with money. You're programmed to believe it. And this is the turning point. If these beliefs have become subconsciously embedded in your mind, they can also be removed and replaced. Science has proven that the human brain has incredible adaptability. This means you can literally rewrite your internal programming and operate on a completely different level. To do this, you first need to identify the beliefs that are sabotaging you. Take a piece of paper and write down the biggest challenge in your life. Now ask yourself, What belief is behind it? If you believe you can't earn more money, your belief might be, money is hard to come by, or I'm not good enough to be successful. If you're stuck in a bad relationship, it might be because you believe love hurts or that no one will ever truly love you. Be honest with yourself, because these thoughts have crossed your mind so many times that they've become automatic. But the good news is, they're not true. Now comes the part that really changes everything. Question this belief and ask yourself, is this really true, or have I just mindlessly accepted it? Do you know of any examples of people who have proven otherwise? When you come across a limiting belief, look for a real-life example that disproves it. For example, if you believe that only humans can become rich, research someone who came from nothing and managed to build an extraordinary life. Your mind needs evidence to accept change. So feed it stories that show you that other realities are possible. And here's the final trick. Replace your belief with a new one and reinforce that idea by repeating it to yourself daily. If you've always said, I'm bad with money, now say, I'm financially savvy and always find opportunities. Sounds too simple to be true, but neuroscience has shown that the brain can't distinguish between reality and constant repetition. What you tell yourself every day becomes your new truth. This is the secret of those who can magically change their lives. The only question now is, are you ready to question everything you've learned? Because from now on, you have two options. Continue to accept the invisible rules that hold you captive, or break them and write a new story for yourself. But before you decide, I have something even more profound to show you. What happens when you discover that your attention is the true key to changing your reality? Have you ever noticed how your attention seems to attract certain things into your life? Like when you're thinking about buying a certain make of car and suddenly you see it everywhere. Or when you learn a new word and it keeps popping up in the days that follow. This is no coincidence. Is this how your brain filters what it considers important? And the most shocking part? This same mechanism determines what you see and don't see in your own life. The truth is, reality doesn't give you exactly what you want. It gives you what you pay attention to. The reticular activating system acts like radar, filtering the world based on your beliefs and focus. If you think life is difficult, your brain will only highlight difficulties. If you think you're never lucky, guess what? You'll only see situations that confirm this. But the opposite is also true. When you focus your attention on possibilities, your brain begins to find paths that were previously invisible. This is precisely the problem. Most people focus on what they don't want. They wake up thinking about their problems, fears, and difficulties, reinforcing this reality without even realizing it. Have you ever noticed that someone who constantly complains about money stays broke? Or that someone who constantly says no one is good only meets problematic people in their relationships? This is because their attention is programmed to find and reinforce these beliefs. But now comes the transformative part. When you change your focus, your life changes too. This isn't an abstract concept, it's pure science. Your brain learns patterns and reinforces them. When you train your brain to look for opportunities instead of problems, a new world opens up to you. To test this right away, try an experiment. Look around and look for blue objects. Remember where they are. Now close your eyes and try to remember where the red objects are. Difficult, isn't it? Because your brain wasn't focused on it. It works the same way in life. If you only look for difficulties, all you'll see are difficulties. If you train your brain to recognize possibilities, they will open up. This explains why some people always seem to find solutions, while others are constantly stuck in problems. What separates one from the other isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. Focus is crucial. From now on, every time you think about something negative, immediately replace that thought with a possibility. If you think, this is hard, ask yourself, what if I found an easy way? If it comes, will I never understand it? Replace it with, how can I learn this? It sounds silly, but that's exactly how you'll begin to reprogram your attention and see opportunities where you previously saw only obstacles. Reality doesn't adapt to your wishes, but to your focuses. So the question is, what exactly do you pay attention to every day? Because the answer to that question explains why you are where you are. But what if there was a way to not only shift your focus, but to rewrite your reality from scratch? If you could rewrite your story right now, what would it look like? What if I told you that the only thing holding you back from living that reality is your mental programming? Most people live in a vicious cycle of frustration because they believe their identity is fixed, their boundaries are real, and change requires time and absurd effort. But the truth is, your brain can be reprogrammed in a matter of days, and when that happens, your life changes as if a switch had been flipped. Think about it. Every one of your beliefs was planted in your mind like a seed in a garden. You weren't born believing that money is hard to make, relationships are complicated, or that you're not good enough. These ideas evolved over a lifetime, fueled by experiences, and repeated so often that they eventually took root. But here's the interesting point. Just as you can choose the plants in your garden, you can also eradicate limiting beliefs and sow seeds of new ideas that will flourish in your life. But how do you put this into practice? First, you need to identify the root causes of your difficulties. Take a piece of paper and write a sentence that summarizes one of your biggest challenges. Now ask yourself, what belief lies behind it? If you feel like you'll never achieve your goals, the belief might be something like, I lack discipline, or I always fail. If the problem is money, then maybe it's, I never earn enough. Now comes the crucial part. Question this assumption. Ask yourself, is this really true? Can you find moments in your life that prove otherwise? Most people realize that their limiting beliefs are completely unrealistic. They're just stories we tell ourselves, stories we've repeated over the years. And this is where you replace the old story with a new one. Take the negative belief and reframe it as a positive one. Instead of, I'm not good with money, right? I'm learning how to manage money and explore new financial opportunities. Instead of, I always fail, right? I'm resilient and always find a way to move forward. Now comes the most important part. You have to solidify this new belief so that it becomes second nature to you. And that happens through repetition and feeling. It's not enough to simply say positive things. You have to feel that truth in your heart. The mind learns through emotions. The more often you repeat your new beliefs with conviction, the faster they will become part of your personality. Want a practical example? Take your new belief and repeat it every morning while looking in the mirror. But don't just do it out of a sense of duty. Feel this truth within yourself. Imagine what your life would be like if you were already that person. The more real it feels, the faster your mind will accept this new version as your identity. And there's one detail that accelerates this process. Take action. You must act as if this belief is already true. If your new belief is, I am healthy and strong, start with small actions that reinforce this, even if it's just a 5-minute walk. If you believe, I am financially intelligent, then start thinking about money, even if it's just for a few minutes a day. Small actions will strengthen this new identity within you. And here's the question that will determine your future. Will you continue to cultivate a garden full of plants you didn't want? Or will you begin pruning what no longer serves you and planting new seeds that will lead you to where you truly want to be? Because transforming your mind is just the beginning. The next step is even more powerful. Aligning your energy with the reality you want to create. Everything in the universe is made of energy, and your reality is no exception. What you feel, think, and believe radiates a certain frequency, and this frequency attracts compatible experiences. Even quantum physics has shown that particles respond to the energy around them. And if everything in existence is made of particles, then your reality is literally shaped by the vibrations you emit every day. Take a moment to consider how high your vibrational frequency has been lately. Do you wake up in the morning with gratitude, enthusiasm, and the certainty that you're moving in the right direction? Or do your thoughts always revolve around what you're missing? Fears about the future, frustration with the present? The secret is simple. What you feel becomes what you live. The big problem is that most people vibrate at the wrong frequency without realizing it. They want success, but carry the burden of fear and doubt. They want abundance, but they're always focused on lack. They desire happiness but harbor grudges from the past. And since the energy they radiate determines what they receive, These people repeatedly attract exactly what they want to avoid. But there's a trick that can change that instantly. Consciously raise your vibration. You don't have to wait for your life to improve to feel good. You can feel good now and thereby improve your life. Want to try it now? Close your eyes for a moment and think of something you're truly grateful for. It can be something small, like the sun shining outside, or something big, like a personal achievement. Now feel this gratitude in your body, as if it fills every cell. Notice how this simple shift in focus already changes your inner state. Gratitude is one of the highest frequencies of all. And when you access it, your energy is directed toward positive things. Now move on to the next level. Choose a time of day to visualize your dream life as if it were already a reality. Imagine living that reality and feel the emotions you would experience if you were already there. It's not just about imagination, but also about feelings. Your brain can't distinguish between reality and imagination. So the more you connect with this energy, the faster your reality adapts and reflects it. And that's not all. Your body also influences your vibration. If you want to escape a low-energy state, move, dance, run, or exercise. Do something that activates your body. Moving energy creates transformation. And often, simply getting up and changing your physical state changes your emotional vibration. Another important point: pay attention to your surroundings and the people around you. Have you ever noticed how much being around negative people drains your energy? This is because emotions are contagious. If you want to raise your vibration, surround yourself with people who inspire you. Consume content that uplifts you, and feed your mind with information that drives you, not limits you. In short, you don't have to wait to reach the frequency of your desired life. You can start now. And the longer you stay in this state, the faster your reality will react. But there's one final ingredient that really changes the game. Take action, because just feeling and visualizing isn't enough. Action is required. Now that you understand how your beliefs shape your reality and how the energy you radiate determines what you attract, there's one final element missing: action. Because the truth is, no positive thinking, no visualization technique, no vibrational increase will do any good if you don't take action. And no one tells you this. You don't have to feel ready to act. You just have to act. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for self-confidence to emerge. Wait until you feel prepared. The big trap, however, is that the feeling of preparation never comes before the action. It always comes afterward. The fatal mistake is believing that you have to feel motivated to start. But the reality is the opposite. You start and then you feel motivated. When you observe someone who has achieved extraordinary things, you realize that they didn't have all the answers when they started. They took the first step without knowing exactly how they would achieve it. Because waiting for clarity before taking action will get you nowhere. Clarity comes from movement. And here's a powerful secret. Small actions accumulated over time bring about massive change. Most people believe transformation happens in one big step. But in reality, it's the small daily habits that create the snowball effect. If you take one step toward your goal every day, no matter how small, you'll be in a completely different place within a year. Want to put it to the test? Grab a piece of paper and write down a single step you can take today. Something simple. Something that takes less than 5 minutes but brings you closer to your goal. It might be researching something you need to learn, sending someone a message, or starting a small habit you've been putting off. It's about breaking free from inertia, because once you get moving, fear and doubt lose their power. And there's another detail that completely changes the game. Those who act create luck. People who seem lucky are nothing special. They simply bring more energy into the world. The harder you try, the more doors open. The more you show yourself, the more opportunities arise. This isn't a coincidence. It's mathematics. Taking action increases the chances that something will work out. And here's your final challenge. Choose something you've been avoiding. Something you know can take you to the next level. And now, it may be a small step, but it must break the cycle of stagnation. Change doesn't happen sometime in the future. It happens the very moment you decide to act. So the crucial question is, will you continue to wait or take action now and make a difference? Because the only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the decision to make it happen. If you've made it this far, something has already changed within you. Have you realized that the rules that held you back weren't real? That your beliefs can be reprogrammed? That your energy determines what you attract? And most importantly, that action makes all of this a reality. But now comes the most important part. What will you do with it? Because knowledge without action is just entertainment. You can watch thousands of videos, read dozens of books, and understand all the science behind mind and reality. But if you don't apply any of it, your life will remain exactly the same. So this is your moment. The question isn't whether this change is possible for you. The question is, are you ready to go beyond theory and make a real change? The truth is, life keeps giving you signs, small opportunities to awaken. And if you've reached that point, this could be your sign. The signal to stop living on autopilot, to question the beliefs that limit you, to increase your energy, and to act as if you've already achieved everything you desire. Because ultimately, reality isn't something that happens to you. Reality is something you create. If you've made it this far, congratulations. Not because this video was hard to watch, but because something inside you knows it's time to change the game. I know how that moment feels. When I first realized I could rewrite my own rules, it was as if a veil had been lifted. I suddenly recognized patterns that had previously seemed invisible to me. Was it uncomfortable? Simulation. But it was also liberating. And if you feel something similar now, it means your transformation has already begun. Because deep down, it's not luck, intelligence, or talent that separates those who remain trapped from those who change their own story. It's about the willingness to look beyond imposed rules. And now that your horizons have expanded, the next step is to reinforce this change with the right tools. With the transformative success of the ebook, The Art of Positive Thinking, it's time to take your mindset to a new level. So, if you truly want to change your life, I invite you to check out the manual, The Power of the Higher Mind. It teaches you techniques that the church and secret societies have kept hidden for centuries. What would you do if you could determine your own destiny? You'll also receive a secret audiobook for activating your third eye and a practical guide to divine manifestation, completely free. Click on the first pinned link and take the first step toward realizing your dream. See you on the other side. Seriously, do you really think I'm going to let you leave without comment? Come on, I want to know. Which moment in this video made you think the most? And while we're at it, take the opportunity to like and subscribe. I promise it won't take a second off your current reality. Or will it? Maybe by clicking, you're secretly sending a signal to the universe that you're ready for a new game. Who knows? There's only one way to find out. And before you go, I know you still feel like something's missing. There's something else that needs to fall into place. Thankfully, the videos here were selected for precisely that purpose. But I warn you, after watching them, you may never look at your life the same way again. Are you ready for this revelation? Then pick one and we'll meet there.